everyone. Alex Cardell here, your host on NCN, and I have the extreme pleasure of interviewing an NCN member and practitioner, Olive Coursolle. She is an energy master, a mentor empowering high-level spiritual entrepreneurs to access their multidimensional consciousness to become number one in their field, elevating their business impact and income. Trained as both a life coach and a healer, Olive's expertise includes energy healing methods like Reiki, Chios Healing, and shamanic energy medicine. Olive has been practicing energy healing in one form or another since her 20s, healing both herself, which we'll ask her a little bit about, and her clients, gaining close to 30 years of healing experience. For the last 20 years, she's also coached and advised clients on their soul mission and destiny. She embodies a cosmic mission of empowering others to live their magic by sacred service through their calling and function. She embodies multidimensional expertise in blueprint calibration and alignment to higher dimensional levels and aspects of consciousness. All right, so I would like to welcome my dear friend, Olive.
Thank you, Alex. It's a pleasure to be here.
And here is actually in the Philippines, right? I mean,
Yes.
you and I have we've had these really amazing conversations for quite a while now. We met in an online program, and we've never actually physically met. We've only known each other on Zoom calls, which is kind of interesting when you think about it, and the fact that you're halfway around the world. So tell me a little bit about, maybe it would be good to just give people a little bit orientation, like your personal journey, and then we can talk a little bit about your offerings.
Thank you, Alex. So, I am the kind of person who had to learn to heal herself. That's what got me started on all of these explorations. Although, of course, I was already very much able to see so much from a young age. So, I grew up being aware of the nature beings, different interdimensional beings, different kinds of interdimensional beings, and the like. But it all came down to me needing to heal my physical self. And that's why I started exploring pranic healing, Reiki healing, and other energy healing modalities, primarily for myself. So that's how I really got started. And it turns out, of course, that this capacity to see, this capacity to be aware of different things, to have a very strong sense of intuition is also what allows me to tune into other people's blueprints, other people's destinies. So I've also had the privilege of sharing guidance, about soul mission, about all the invitations for a person to grow as a soul. But really, for me, it started off with me needing to heal. My family has a history of genetic illness, so that's what prompted me to look into energy healing.
Well, it's interesting because, I think that's true for probably pretty much everybody
Hmm.
who's now turning and wanting to support other people. There's some element of our own personal experience that leads us to a particular direction, a particular focus, and the more that we can incorporate those talents and gifts that we've been given, just as an innate being here on the planet Earth at the moment, that becomes, it really becomes a life work. So do you want to talk a little bit about how you help people kind of tweeze what those elements are?
Yes, thank you, Alex. So one pillar of this system of coaching that I do and healing is really around our soul blueprints. So that's a key part of what we shift awareness to, from this sense of, we're having all these challenges and we're going through different lessons in life. We then, of course, contextualize all of that uh, in the person's destiny. So that's what all the soul blueprints are all about. We actually have more than one kind of blueprint. Many people are probably familiar with, let's say, their natal chart or their gene keys profile or their human design profile or other kinds of readings, for example, that are available as to what we're here for, right? So I also like to take that starting point and help people tune into all these clues that the soul, their own soul, has given them. And that's a really good foundation, a springboard for the exploration that follows.
There are a million different systems out there, and
Mm,
having partaken of all those three that you mentioned and others as well, it can get a little confusing,
mm,
to try to really get to some kind of the heart of the matter, or what is that thing that I'm uniquely here to express. And so how do you what kind of process do you use to kind of suss that out?
Some of it is really like a guided exploration, a guided meditation, for lack of a better term. In this guided meditation, we then actually go inward into uh, the the heart space or the creative imagination, so that we can tune into the archetypes of a person's greatness here on earth. So, although, of course, we're all divine beings, we actually have a very unique way of being divine here in this lifetime. And so, one specialization of mine is going on that kind of guided meditation or journey within to see the fullness of those archetypes. Actually, there's more than one. There may be, for example, a soul role, a starseed function. There's also, if the person is a starseed, if the person is an earth soul, an earth human, then there are also other archetypes associated with that. And so it really helps for that person's own sense of those great soul archetypes uh, to be clarified, to be amplified. So that's where those guided meditations or journeys really come in handy.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm just like thrown into this, in a way, we're kind of in an age of information overload,
Mm-hmm.
and having someone to assist or having someone to guide, to help kind of curate all that information so that it actually you can get some traction on it. Like I often feel like I'm
Absolutely.
just so inundated with so much information, and you can, in some ways you can kind of see a little bit of yourself in all of it, and at the same time there is probably that one track or that one element that is a good starting point, at least, to help in the work that you're doing, which is to really help people flourish in their own gifts and talents. So what when you talk about energy mastery, how does that relate to these blueprint patterns, and
Mm-hmm.
what's the best way to work with that?
Mm. So because we have our particular unique blueprint, our unique divine design for our greatness here on earth, it only really makes sense, doesn't it, to optimize what it is in our being, in our divine design that we express in our human lives, in our everyday human lives already, to open up, open the path up to that destiny. So, for example, one good example of it is how we create narratives about ourselves, right? That's one form of energy mastery. Uh, how we refer to ourselves as well, how we talk to ourselves is another form of that. So what I do is I facilitate unlocking the higher spectrum, if you will, of all of these preset habits or routines and ways of thinking and speaking and doing that we already have, so that we, in fact, honor and embody our divine design. So that's part of the work that I do in energy mastery. Then there is, of course, our physical, emotional, and mental energy too. And so I also offer coaching and prompts, as well as some training to allow a person to regain control of what normally operates on autopilot. I mean, I'm sure everyone has experienced just doing things, let's say something routine, something everyday, while their mind wanders, right? So, because those things happen on autopilot, we therefore actually lose an opportunity to listen deeply for all of these sensations that our body gives us about where our energy is actually stuck, where we are not able to see beyond the mundane. So that's another form of this energy mastery work that I do. Prompting, some training on how to use that energy in the moment. I almost like a certain level, another level of mindfulness, if you will, that makes it accessible, that makes our intuition, our inner guidance much more accessible.
There's so much going on right now. I'm reading a book called Stolen Focus, and
Mm,
there's a lot of focus on attention. And what is attention? What is the subconscious mind? What is the conscious mind? Like there's just a lot of inquiry into that area. But I could see that there are so many things in our I'll just speak for myself. There's so many things in my daily life where I'm doing exactly what you said. I'm on autopilot. I'm just, doing things and, getting things done, da da da. And then there's moments where things kind of like open up and I go, oh, well, this is interesting. There's some like new information coming, or like a couple things get um connected to each other that didn't seem like they were connected before, those kinds of things. So
mm,
can you share with us like one little, maybe one practice that would help us kind of like bloom those moments and not be so on autopilot?
absolutely, Alex. One thing that helps is really to stay connected to our own bodies while we're doing these things. So, for example, a power practice I recommend, especially early on in a program for a particular client, is to come home to the self by connecting to this, what is called the Sea of Tranquility here in the upper chest. And so, and of course, it's no surprise that if we put our hands in the prayer pose, our fingers, our thumbs actually land there, right? So that's actually a good way to stay centered in our own bodies while we do something like, for example, sit at a traffic light, or perhaps while, let's say, at work, there's something that we're sending or we're downloading and we're waiting. There's a moment that's available for us. So quickly putting the hands the hands in the prayer pose or the fingers here on that sea of tranquility area helps us recenter ourselves. That's really quite helpful. So,
Yeah, and I can imagine it also at the same time, puts us more in contact with our breath, which
mm,
is obviously something very vital and very important
mm,
to maintain. But and that just, I guess, paying attention to our breath gives us a little bit of a read on where we're at. Like if we're
mm,
breathing very shallowly, we're not actually relaxed in the body, that kind of thing.
mm,
So, one of the things that I notice in myself and with people that I work with is that there are often these I would call them constrictions in the flow. Some people call them areas of trauma, some people call them blocks, those kinds of things. I like saying restrictions because it kind of gives us more power to then open it up, and it's a little more dynamic.
mm.
So when we're in this body consciousness, when we notice these areas, like, oh, it's not really, that shoulder is really just not as connected to my body as I'd like it to be. Do you have any particular ways of unpacking that or opening that up?
Yes, we also, of course, consider what works best for the client's unique divine design. Some people actually are built to process things, let's say, more energetically rather than physically. Other people would do well with movement or a mudra, for instance, to unlock tension or constriction in one area. Others actually do well with visualization and meditation. So it depends on the divine design of that client, actually. And
Wow.
so I make sure to understand uh, what that person's divine design is, what works best for them, so that they can, in fact, beyond the coaching container, the training with me, for example, they can go on to apply that consistently and make it their own. So I also like to make sure what that person's divine design is and how they function well in this world.
Well, I could see how that would certainly be, something, like would make the process a little easier for someone if they really, instead of, like, for instance, if you're someone who's more of a physical, processor or whatever, if someone keeps telling you to visualize, that's gonna be harder. It's gonna, put like another level of difficulty in there. So having the value of having someone who can clearly see and coordinate, like, see all the multidimensional elements of your pattern, that would be very helpful, obviously.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, just curious, so you work with people online, you work with people in person, how would people, like, say I was coming to you as a client, how would you take me through the process?
Mhm. So this support is available online, of course, and so because it's a high touch program, so there are multiple points of contact as well. And there's some independent study of, let's say, guides of how to do something like clearing your own clearing your own energy fields. Nothing too fancy, of course. It is meant to support the process of achieving that mastery over our energy and our focus. So some of it is done independently, and then there is weekly contact through Voxer. So, and then there's a Zoom meeting, a Zoom coaching call as well, and a shared Q&A with other people in the program. Although this is a one-on-one form of support, there are others who are also going through this at the same time. And so I've found it useful to schedule one gathering where everyone can bring their questions or ask for input. We also do have a little community of everyone in the program. Again, although this is all done one on one, that shared group allows everyone to to be witnessed by others on the same kind of journey. So there is a community component to this as well, even if it is one-on-one work. And
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, that's so valuable, to have the opportunity to hear what other people are going through. Like, one of the things that is also popping up on a lot of radars right now is the whole element of loneliness.
mm,
And as someone who has always felt like I was marching to my own drummer, so to speak, or like on the road less taken kind of thing, I could see where would be very valuable to see, look, there's other people that are in a way wrestling with similar things in their own way. And then also learning how to share or communicate in a way that's supportive to other people. That's another thing I don't think we're taught. We're not really, I was with some, this was years and years and years ago, a woman named Patricia Sun.
mm,
And one of the things she said in a workshop I was with hers was that we're all adult children of adult children. So we don't really know how to, you know show up in the world as an adult because we didn't really have good examples. So I could see this mentoring and the co-creation of the community and things like that. And I mean, it is something we're also supporting and encouraging with the Next Culture Network program. Is that a place where all those people that feel feel like they don't just really quite fit in with the current cultural narrative, have an opportunity to, explore and find like-minded souls, so like-hearted friends in the world and that. So, I have just appreciated you so much. I mean, you've been such a touchstone for me over the years. I mean, I think it's probably been 5 or 6 years we've known each other now.
yes.
So we've gone through some different phases and stages. Um, how do people get a hold of you? How do they figure out how to work with you?
So of course, I'm here on the platform, Next Culture Network. So please feel free to reach out here. I'm also on Facebook, and if you go to mypowermap.com, it actually points straight to my Facebook profile. If you also maintain a presence there, I'm also happy to connect there. So those two ways, here on our own platform, Next Culture Network, or on Facebook.
Yeah,
Please say hi. Please let me know if you have questions about what it is like to master your energy at different levels and anything related to the subject of understanding our divine design.
excellent. So we didn't talk about this earlier, but I wanted to ask, would you be willing to do a little short meditation, a little example of something what people might experience working with you?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So we
Great.
can do that right now. Yes. Thanks, Alex. All right. So if you like, you can close your eyes or soften your gaze, whichever feels most comfortable at this moment. And just follow the breath home to the body, home to the self. And just allow yourself to feel your breath, just easing the tension in your body, where any tension anywhere in your body. So we're going to just take a few rounds of that breath to feel ease growing and deepening in the body. And so having centered ourselves, followed the breath home to the body, we're now just going to take a moment to feel our energy field, just the edges of our energy on our body, or even beyond the body. And we're just going to allow ourselves to notice what's going on at the edges of our body, at the edges of our own energy field. And so we're not doing anything other than observing, allowing the state of the energy at the edges of our body to be made known. And so with neutrality or compassion, we allow our body to reveal the state of our energy at the edges of our body, at the edges of our energy field. As you continue to observe, you may find that that state has already begun to change gradually or change a lot, whichever the case may be. As your attention continues to just very gently notice how the edges of your body's energy are right now, how the edges of your energy field are right now. And to which we then very gently share with our body gratitude for revealing that. So allow yourselves to send gratitude out to the body for sharing the state of his or her or their energy right now. And as you share this gratitude with your body for revealing to you how the body is today in this now, if you are also invited or inspired to allow the energies to move, to correct themselves if they are needed somewhere else in the body, then take a few breaths to do so. Let the energies move to where they're needed or to correct themselves, whatever the case may be. And so we're just going to hold steady here as you witness that movement or correction of your energy. We welcome any movement or correction of the body's energy here, now. And feeling that change, again, we send gratitude to the body for that movement or that correction, as we also now very gently allow for that movement or correction to be integrated by the body, by the self in this now. So take a few breaths here, perhaps 2 breath cycles or 3. And we gently come back to the now. And when you feel ready, then gently open your eyes.
Thank you, Olive. As always, just a blessing to be in your presence, and so much grace in you, and your willingness to offer that. So thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for being part of the network. Thank you for shining your light and helping us all shine our light
Mm,
clearly.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you. Thank you for this community. Such an honor to be here.
All right. So I'll drop your contact information in the notes, and thank you.